Hey, boys and girls, back with another edition of our videos. Today, we're kind of transitioning more into what we're going to need for the standard algorithm, which we're going to work on kind of tomorrow and then Friday again. Again, we've been kind of doing 4 partial products, which I'll show you again. Today, we're going to kind of transition to 2 partial products, which is then going to really help us get over here to this step. So for instance, you know it's the same exact starting part in all of them, 53 times 24. Really going to do the same math, just 3 different ways. Just going to get rid of the box part today. So we start with 53. Really, I start with just the 3. And I'll kind of show you what that's going to be over here. That's going to be kind of my bottom number over here. That's why I'm going to start with the 3. With the 4 product, you do it times each piece individually. The 3 has to get multiplied by both the pieces over here. This is the number 4, and this, as we did in our boxes, is 20. So that's the same first step we would do over here. First, we would do 3 times 4, then we would do 3 times the 2, which is really 20. Yeah, so all I really did was I took the 3 and I multiplied it by both of these pieces on the other side. Then I'll switch colors. Then I'm really going to do the same thing with the 5. Again, this 5, though, is really a 50 in my problem. And I do it times the same other numbers. 50 times 4, and then 50 times 20. And that's basically what we had in our boxes, just without the box. So I'll even do that over here. I'll make that blue over here, so you can kind of see that difference later. Okay? Then we would go through and we would do each of those parts. Do those in black. Right? Then what is 3 times 4? And that's just the ones place times the 4. That's 12. What is 3 times 20? We do our one math fact of 3 times 2, which is 6. And then we put the 0 in the end for 60. And then 50 times 40. And really, we do the 5 times 4. 5 times 4 makes 20. Some of you get in a bad habit of saying, well, I know I needed 1 0. 20 already has a 0. I'm good. In fact, the 20 would go here, and then we still need that extra 0. Like neither of these had a 0, so I didn't have to add any extra. This one did have an extra 0, so I had to add 1. This one had 1, so I had to add 1 again. And then again, I go to here. 5 times 2, that's my regular math fact, is 10. Plus I need 2 more zeros. So I end up with a total of 1,000. And then I add those together. There's 2, there's 7, there's 2, and there's 1. 1,272. All right, now I'm going to kind of show you that same idea over here. Only we're going to do something kind of different. We're going to do it more like this one over here that I'll show you in a minute. We're going to do 3 times the whole 24. So we're going to figure out what 3 times 24 is. We're going to do 3 times the whole 24. And really, all that really is going to be are these two combined. Like if I was writing that out, 3 times 24. It's basically going to be these two parts together from our 4 product one. It's the same thing. We're just kind of skipping a step, but we're just basically going to crunch those together. Because 3 times 4 is 12. Same math fact. Only difference is that goes down and this comes up. Right? See how that's my same exact 12 from over here? Then I do 3 times 2 is 6. That's right here. Plus the 1 that we carried makes 7. So that's essentially what we just did in our 2 product system. And then in blue, because I started that kind of in blue over here, I'll do that same thing. Now I'm going to do 50 times 24. which is really, again, going to be these two pieces together. Should end with 1,200. And again, I'll show you kind of how or why that works. Super, super important thing I'm going to get into these next couple days. What we've learned, again, whenever we get over to here to the 5, when we go to that second line over here, we have to put a 0 down as a placeholder. I'm going to do that right away. That 0 is going to come down because this is really 50. Then at that point, it's just 5 times 24 with a 0. And I'll kind of show you that in a second, right? So once I put my 0 down as my placeholder, it's going to be a super important step over here. Now it's just 5 times 4 is 20. That's the same one right here. Let me switch back to blue. It's that same 20 that's right here. The 0 goes down and the 2 carries. That's that same right here. And then 5 times 2 makes 10. That's right here. Plus the 2 that we carried makes the 12. So again, afterwards, you just do this times that first spot, this times that second spot, plus what you carried. Same thing here. We have to put our 0 as our placeholder. And then we would go back and we would add those two things together. We would add the 72 plus the 1,200, and we get 1,272. Okay, and then I come over here and I do that same thing. And this is, again, what we're going to be getting to really for the rest of the week after today. We're going to be focusing on this idea. This will help me show you where these numbers come from. Because I'm going to do all 4 steps. I'm going to crunch them together into 2 steps. Then I'm essentially going to end up with just this. This is what I'm going to end up with underneath. It's kind of a shortcut. It's a much quicker way to do this. We can kind of just snap these out a little quicker. Right? 3 times 4 makes 12. Again, my same 12 that's here. My same 12 that was here. Again, the 2 goes down and the 1 carries. Right? Then 3 times 2 is 6 plus the 1 is 7. So again, I really just pretend like the 5 isn't even there. One of the harder things, for whatever reason, every year it happens, kids just do 3 times 4 and 5 times 2 and think they're done. You basically ignore the bottom tens place and just focus on the ones place. You're just doing 24 times 3, like we did here, 72. Again, my super, 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 super important step. Then I'm going to do 5 times 24 next. I just have to remember to put that 0 down as a placeholder. That's probably the second most common mistake kids make. Then it's just 5 times 24. I just got to remember to put that 0 on the end. Again, it's exactly what I did here. 5 times 4 makes 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. And then I add them together. Okay, and again, the important thing is, again, I got the same exact answer all 3 times. When I did it with 4 products, again, as long as you're putting your zeros correctly and remembering to separate those correctly. Here I did it, the same idea, I just did it with 2 products. It's just 1 by 2 multiplication. I just had to remember my 0 here. Same 0 that's right here. Yeah, then I just did, this was 3 times 24 that I did over here. And then this was the 24 times 50 that I did right here. Okay, you just have to remember, you kind of just go through, and I'll show you kind of another shortcut that I'm going to kind of show you a couple times this week. Kind of the basic idea of how to get to this part. Notice there's a really bad glare coming off that light in the middle, but I tried to kind of push it over to the side. I tried to expand it a little bit. It's kind of cool. I was able to kind of make it a little bigger. And I have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. This is more of kind of an order of how you're going to do things. Technically it looks like 32 times 41. But I'm really kind of just doing this number-wise to show you kind of the pattern. You're always going to do this first spot, which again, I put a number 1 here, times the second spot. This is always going to be what you're going to do first, no matter what the numbers are in there. you're always going to do this bottom spot here times this side spot over here, no matter what double-digit multiplication problem you're doing. In this case, it's just 1 times 2 is 2. These pens are killing me. Okay, you always just start with that. This number times whatever that number is above it. Then we do that number down there times this number next. Sometimes there's something to carry that we add on afterwards, and I'll show you one of those over on the other side in a minute. So we always do this first spot times this second spot. And then we go back and we do this first spot times this third spot. Okay, that's our whole top row. That was 1 times 32. When we go over to the 4, again, that basically was our numbering. First we did this one times that one, then we did that times that. So now the 1 is basically all done. We're done with it. Now we're moving on and we're going to do the 4. Now we're doing 4 times this spot. But we have to remember, before we start our multiplication, we have to remember to put our 0 down as a placeholder. Then I'm going to do that 4 times that second spot, or that top right spot, which is 8. And then our last step is always the 2 big ones together. This was always that bigger box in the squares that had the 2 zeros in it, because this is really 40 times 30. It's just really here, we're just doing 4 times 3 is 12. And then we would add those 2 parts together. There's 11. Okay, and again, I want you to focus more on the actual numbers I'd use. This is always the first spot that we use, was this one. We multiply it first by the thing above it, and then the other side. We put our 0 down as our placeholder, then we do the other number on the bottom times first this one on the right, and then this one on the left. So that's why I just did that as 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I can pick any 2 numbers and we can make this work. I'll pick like 53 times 64. And I'm always going to start with this first number on the bottom. 4 is going to get multiplied first by 3 and then by 5. Let's see if I can make that a little bigger. Too big. That's pretty big. Okay. The lights just went off and the heat came on. It's already 1,000,000 degrees in here, but we'll keep going. Good, we're going to start with just this 4 times 3. It's always this spot, this 1's times that 1's. 4 times 3 makes 12. So the 3 goes down. Now it's too big. I don't want to do that. Okay. 4 times 3 makes 12. So the 2 goes down and the 1 carries. Right? So again, basically pretend like the 6 isn't there. It's just the top times this first number here. 4 times 3 was 12. 2 goes down, 1 carries. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. Go to my next number. I remember to put my 0 down as a placeholder. And then at that point, it's just 6 times 53. And I just really am going to do that. Now the 4 is basically done. I do 6 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18. So the 8 goes down, and now the 1 carries. And then 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. So that's why we've been doing a lot of these math facts and things to help you kind of hopefully be able to snap these out a little quicker. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 times 8 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then 3. That's kind of what we're going to be learning really tomorrow and Friday. Help you kind of quickly be able to do those.